Growth-driven design is a new approach to website development. Fundamentally, websites have one major flaw, and that is people build websites and then they tend to just leave them. So, traditional approach, about every 2 years, the company gets so fed up with their website, they'll say, we just can't, it's so off message now, we just can't put up with this anymore. And then they will go into purdah, which is essentially nothing in and nothing out for a period of time, whilst they rebuild the website. The problem, of course, is that that goes on for some time, while they pull everybody together, form a committee, put the group together, try and work out their messaging. And all the time this is going on, you've still got the old website that nobody likes. So a long period of time occurs to the point that everyone's absolutely ready with a new website. And it might have been 2 years to the point that we got so fed up with the website, we'd started a project to produce a new one. Now, perhaps another 6, 9, or even 12 months has gone by, and we've been stuck with the old website that whole time. We then pull the lever and launch the new website. Sigh of relief, lie on the couch, recover. We don't touch it again for probably another 2 years. And this cycle is just ongoing. And it's very bad for the business, because a website that's not being updated on a regular basis starts to fall out of sync with the rest of the organisation and what the business is doing. So the idea behind growth-driven design is to make small incremental changes on an ongoing basis to your website. And it's just a fundamentally different approach, a different way of thinking about your website. When we're dealing with organisations who are looking to rework their website, we'll map out the differences in approach, and then we'll show them how we can take a version of their website and launch it for them in 13 weeks. And the process is based around what I would describe as minimum viable product. You have to do your research on the website, work out what are your high value pages. Most websites will adhere to Pareto's 80-20 law. That is to say, 20% of the website will bring in 80% of the traffic. So if we can focus on those high value pages, we can not try to rebuild the entire site in one go. We can focus on that piece of it which brings us the majority of our traffic. Put a temporary solution of redirects in place for the other pages when we launch. And then have a new website that is live, bringing us in our regular flow of traffic and the correct messaging, because we've reworked everything. We've now got a website that everybody likes, that is right on message for the company, and starting to generate traffic and interest and hopefully leads as well. And then over the course of the next, say, 12 months, we'll establish a program plan that adds more pages on a monthly and quarterly basis to an agreed schedule. It makes a huge difference. It just means that in a very short, measured period of time, we can have a new website up and running for the company and not be stuck with that old, terrible one that everyone hates and can't stand for a very long period of time. A new growth-driven design website needs to be mapped out with a very clear blueprint. You wouldn't build a house without a blueprint, so make sure that you have those blueprint plans in place for your new website. And inherently, it breaks down into 3 stages. Now, I would consider the first step to be your research. And you need to understand your current website. And there's a great deal of research that can be done before you get into the development and style and look and feel of the website. So you need to understand the search engine optimization of the current website. You need to understand what are the high value pages that bring your traffic to the website. It won't be all of them, it'll typically be a smaller quantity. Let's say 20% of those pages will bring in the majority of your traffic. You need to clearly understand your buyer personas. What are your target markets? What's your target audience look like? And make sure you understand who you're going to write the copy for that new website. You need to start thinking about how you're going to develop that content. There's a bunch of new content that's got to be created for it. How are you going to approach that? Are you, the company, going to produce it? If you've got writers, authors yourselves, you're going to put that out to somebody outside. And then you've got to look at essentially the site map of the website today. How is your current website structured? And fully understand what the new website's going to look like. In terms of SEO management, you're going to have to do a mapping of page to page for your old to new site in that migration as such. And once you've got all of that in place, I would consider that, if you like, to be phase 0, as it might. That's all of the preparatory stuff. Now, if you've done all of that, you can now launch into the actual build process. Now, I've spoken previously about minimum viable product. So you've worked out what the first step, new pages you need for the website. And let's say on what was a 50-page website, maybe I have decided that 20 pages are going to be those that I'll launch from day one. So I've worked out which of the 20 pages, my launch pad, if you will, for the new website. I've got a design and layout that I have looked at, mapped out, and hopefully I've looked at the prospect of a template. I don't need to write all of the back-end code from scratch. These days you can go and buy a template that's got all of that in place and then have somebody modify that for you. Somebody who will bring your branding, your colorways, your style into that template. But broadly, all of the large amounts, let's say, of the functionality are already in the background before you start. That allows me to do really rapid development. And I'm looking to create from that point 0 to having the first version of my website. My goal is 60 days. And probably that overall process might take me 90 days if I'm well structured and well organized for all of that. Then in the stage of launching my website, pulling the lever, setting it live. But that's not it. That's the start of my process. I'm now going to go on and add pages. I know what my website expansion plans are. I know how my search engine optimization is going to work, and I'm going to add pages to that on a structured, regular basis, month on month, quarter on quarter, for the next 12 months. And once I've done that 12 months, I'll put a plan in for extending it on further and adding more pages and making adaptations to the current setup as I move forward. It's going to be like the fourth bridge. We're going to start painting at one end and building this thing, and once we've got to the other end, we're going to come back and look at it again. Because the old days of set and forget with your website are just not practical anymore. Your business is changing all the time, so your website must do exactly the same and build and change with your organization. I would recommend that as a plan for anybody who's looking to start a new website project. Build it in the right way from the very beginning.